The wind clawed at my window all night long. It wandered the fields and howled like a hungry beast. An endless song, weaved from all sorts of voices, shrill, gentle, sneery, twined in the air. They were shouting and laughing, and arguing about something. Someone was running through the snow while casting long shadows that would occasionally creep close to my bed. Our house had a mind of its own, the creaky old mind of a building that had seen a lot in its days and was seemingly trying to share its wisdom with the inhabitants. The lonely house faced the forest, and the dark green thicket gazed back with its hollow eyes, rustling, whizzing, swaying back and forth. One could come out and stand at the edge of the forest to reassure themselves there was nobody behind the crooked trees. Fuzzy silhouettes swaying in the wind couldn't possibly do any harm. It's just a play of light and shadow. Just a play. I knew it was just my imagination. I was already 12, after all. Still. The Owl Will Arrive. Episode 1. I wonder what the voice-over will be.
Убери книгу немедленно.
Yeah, it's Russian. Hey, put away your book.
Сколько раз говорила, не читай
How
за
many
столом.
times have I
Вредно.
told you not to
Сидишь,
read at the
сутулишься
table?
весь.
It's bad for your health. Look at how slouched you are. Right, hide. He's really slouched. I didn't protest and put the book about Conan the Barbarian aside. I was stuck on a line I couldn't understand after reading it 3 times anyway. Olya had already finished her breakfast and was munching on some cookies. She was so enthusiastic, she almost looked like your typical girl from commercials.
Пока не съешь, из-за стола не встанешь.
You're not going anywhere until you finish all of it. I, on the other hand, was still trying to drill a hole in the plate with my eyes, as if it would make the porridge disappear. Hazy anxiousness welled up inside, all because of the previous sleepless night, the black forest around our house, and the gloomy wind. The longer I waited, the colder the lumpy white substance became. It looked like a jellyfish from the Cousteau Odyssey. I loved that show. I wonder how horrifying the bottom of the ocean is. Or how could the Black Forest... or how cold the Black Forest is at night. The spoon fell out of my hand. Mom showered me with a cold glare from her green eyes.
Что я говорила?
What did I just say?
Я достану.
I'll get it. I had 10 seconds to catch my breath before battling the nasty porridge once again. I felt around for the spoon. What is this? Carved on the other side of the table. Karina. Huh. That's my mom's name. I guess she carved it out with something pointy when she was little. She sure was a rascal, damaging the furniture like that. She would scold me for a week if I did something similar, though. Should I remind her about it? No. She's been in a bit of bad mood lately. I imagine her being my age, sitting under this table. I wonder, was Mom afraid of the dark back then? Or the sounds coming from the attic? Or the thick forest? I imagined my grandma coming into my little mom's room, sitting at the edge of her bed, where Olya sleeps nowadays, and saying this in her soft, smooth voice.
Тайга особое место.
Taiga is a special place, little girl.
Она к тебе присматривается.
It's watching you closely,
Принюхивается,
sniffing you out,
словно хочет
trying to discern what kind of beast you are.
понравишься.
If you're a good sort, it won't abandon you in times of trouble.
А будешь проказничать,
But if you're a bad apple,
и утащит.
it'll grab you by the side and drag you onto the ground.
Тут и дело, сказал.
And that would be it. Grandma was caring. She never fought with anybody, never yelled, never swore. Those were the times without the maddening screams until late at night, without smashed dishes and mutual accusations. Our parents used to love each other back then. I remember listening in one of their conversations by chance. They were talking about Grandma getting prepared for her funeral. Oh, the music. I really forgot about it. It's good. She had already bought a casket, and she called it her cute funeral box. It waited for its time in the closet, patiently. It was black, upholstered with meat-colored material on the inside. I saw it when my grandma was getting buried. The house didn't change since the time she was alive. Only all of the photos were gone. Glass-covered pictures with grey faces of my ancestors. They all had a dead, but watchful look in their eyes. I crawled out from under the table. Olya was done with her cookies and was looking at my share like a sly woodland critter. I turned my gaze toward the frosted window. There were a lot of duck pines outside, but they didn't grab my attention. The pattern of frost formed a picture on the glass.
Оля, гляди, лиса!
Olya, look, it's a fox.
Где?
Where? It looked almost like those optical illusion thingies they put on the back of student notebooks. A mixture of lines at first glance, but if you blur your vision a little bit and look under a certain angle,
Да не на улице, на стене.
not outside, on the window.
Смотри, вот нос, вот.
Look, here's the nose, and here's...
Ну-ка, доедай.
Hey, eat up!
Да, да, сейчас.
Yeah, just a moment.
Я nичего не
I
вижу.
don't see anything.
Живо. Совсем немного
Hurry up!
осталось.
There's not much left. What was that voice? Ah, there it is.
Похоже.
But it still doesn't look like one.
А я говорю, похоже.
And I'm telling you it does.
Не-а.
Nuh-uh.
Похоже.
It does.
Прекратите.
Stop it.
Дети.
These kids, I swear. Now I couldn't see the fox either. It disappeared. Went away. Only the frosty patterns, similar to stretched out nettle leaves, kept creeping up the glass. My dad entered the kitchen with long, measured steps. I want to have a beard like his when I grow up. Mom would always ask jokingly, "Come on, shave it off, it stinks." This was so long ago. Nowadays, rumbling doors and witty comebacks were an everyday occurrence. Olya always covers her ears whenever she hears something like, "What's the point in all this?" through the wall. "It's all for your sake," Dad would reply. "For the sake of our family." I always got every sound in fear of hearing the most dreaded, the deadliest word that started with a D. D-I-V-O. I don't even want to finish it. It was scary to imagine that me and my little sister could be torn apart and taken into two different families.
Да что твоя лиса?
Anyway, your fox is nothing.
Ва!
I have an owl in my window. Oh, that's actually a reference to what we're gonna see in the future.
Опять ты со своей совой.
You and your owl talk again.
Так ты же вчера мне верил.
You said you believed me just yesterday.
никто ключи от машины не видел?
Has anybody seen my car keys?
Вроде оставлял на...
I remember leaving them on the windowsill.
Вроде.
Right.
Вроде оставлял.
Maybe you did, and maybe not.
Вроде взрослый мужчина.
You're a grown man, a father of two, and still...
Перестань, пожалуйста.
Karina, please stop.
Дай мне спокойно.
Just let me get ready in peace.
В корзине твои ключи.
Your
Возле
keys are in the basket near the phone.
Огромное тебе
Well,
человеческое
thank you
спасибо.
very much.
Антон, ешь быстрее.
Anton, stop making a martyr out of yourself and finish eating already.
А сова?
But the owl?
Не было
There
там
was no
никакой-
owl.
Была!
But there was one.
Лазюки!
It had a giant glowing eyes. Olya sprung up from the chair and placed her hands on her little face, imitating a pair of eyes with her fingers, the size of an apple each.
В прошлом году Бабаев... в школе
Last
был.
year you had
Сейчас
Baba in your
сова.
closet, and now this owl? Babai. In Slavic folklore, a nocturnal spirit used by parents to threaten their ill-behaving children.
Я же
But I saw it! Olya shifted her gaze back and forth from dad to mom to me, but couldn't find any support.
А ты не думала подружиться с ней, нет?
Have you thought about befriending it?
Вымышленными
You know, like
кормить, например.
feeding it with imaginary mice?
Не подначивай ребенка.
Don't bully our girl.
Просто мала еще.
She's just afraid to sleep alone because she's still little. Olya pouted her lips in rebellion and rushed into the hallway. The staircase that led to the second floor creaked. Mom gave Dad a strict look. Oh, that look in her eyes. It's so uncomfortable to be pinned under it. Dad just nodded in reply and left, ringing with the keys he just found. A minute had passed and the theme song from The Little Mermaid echoed through the house. It was stored on incredibly worn-out cassette tape, which Dad already had to glue together once. It's so easy to fix objects, by gluing them back together, for example. But how do you fix a relationship? Mom moved to the living room and I was left alone, anxiously stealing glances at the window. Olya had trouble sleeping ever since we moved to this house. She would toss and turn or curl into a ball under the blanket. Sometimes she would jump up in the middle of the night and turn on the VCR. Cartoons helped to take her mind off all the troubles we had with the move and our parents. Shit. And then Olya said she saw the giant flying monster outside her window. She became obsessed with it. Our parents did everything in their power. They tried every little trick to get rid of those ridiculous fears. Olya refused to sleep alone and didn't believe that the owl was just one of her nightmares. After last night, I wasn't sure what to make of my sister's words, what to think of it myself. Can nightmares be infectious? That night I couldn't get a wink of sleep and ended up thinking of what to expect from my new school. There were a couple of days left before the beginning of a new term. Shit, I'm fucking scared. I'm like sitting in a dark room and those squeaking screeches or whatever that is, scratches. The squeaking of floors. It's kind of terrifying. I'm getting goosebumps out of it. One moment, I'm gonna turn off the speakers because I was on the reflect. I was just making them lower. So yeah, my imagination drew long twisting hallways that led to a classroom full of kids. Fuck, this music is scary. I think I even forgot about it. Well, about it being so scary. But all the students behind their desks were simply dark figures, cut out using a template. Circular holes gaped in the middle of their faces, and pairs of eyes blinked inside those holes. It was as if some completely different creatures were looking at me from behind the flat black silhouettes. Their cruel glares, filled with icy sneers, made me shiver from head to toe. Will I survive here? Won't they gang up on me and beat me down? Stomp on me with their bloodied shoes? The damned skull can burn for all I care. I just wished for anything to happen to it. It doesn't really matter what. I didn't want to go there that badly. I didn't want to see people who were just itching to smack me on the head, trip me up, think of a new offensive name for me, worse than the previous one. I felt like the glasses I wore made me an outsider or some sort of a monster. My gaze slid across the drawings hanging on the walls. I couldn't consider myself a great artist, but Olya begged me to hang them. Drawing was the only thing that made me happy as of late. The small circle of friends I had also enjoyed my paintings, and they promised to call me from time to time. Sometimes I imagine Mom picking up the phone and saying in a cold voice, "You've got the wrong number." Or, "Anton is not around." Anton is not around. I imagined my future classmates lying in their beds, just like me, listening to the howls of invisible werewolves outside their windows. Maybe my new classmates will like me after all. But who would ever like a boy with thick glasses? I mean, my dad used to wear glasses when he was little, and now he's married to the most beautiful woman on the planet, my mom. The house creaked, pressed by the wind. The condo we used to live in, a 9-floor concrete building, buzzed with the neighbor's drill, mumbled with a TV set from behind the wall, cried like a baby from the big family next door. Our current house, though I can't really call it new, was completely different. It was silent and easygoing during the day. Its shadows lay dormant in the corners, on the closet cobwebs, and under the stairs. But they all woke up during the night. Fuck, I'm so fucking scared that this door will open. One moment, guys, I'm gonna turn off the night lights. I've got the night lights, they are purple. One moment. It's too scary, like, you know, like... I forgot how terrifying the first episodes are. They really are. So yeah, let's go. Where's the game? Yeah. Something was watching me from every corner. Almost as if the old photos of my deceased family, with their Russian eyes, were hanging on the walls in place of my drawings. The floor was squeaking, rusty drains were moaning, the attic was occupied by noisy drafts. One could think the house was performing some sort of demonic melody. And then I realized I was in fact hearing music. It was already playing for a good while. Somewhere at the edge of my perception, I could hear a flute. It was mixed in with the sound of the wind, of the creaking old house, and my thoughts too. I stood up and rushed to the window. I wanted to reassure myself that the music was nothing more than a product of my imagination. It's not like someone is playing it there amidst the cold snowy night, right? Open. I wouldn't open it. Like, yeah, sure, open. It's light outside. Someone was dancing in the field. Black silhouettes I could barely make out, with the dark forest as their backdrop. They jumped around, basked in moonlight, bumped into piles of snow, rolled around and crawled on all fours. Stories about wolves playing under the moon came to mind, but these were clearly not wolves. They stood upright at times, circled around holding hands and whipping up snow, disappearing into the shadows for a brief moment and then coming back. Something bizarre was going on. Shadows dancing in the starless abyss made my imagination go wild, making me anxious at the same time. Ёб твою, I mean fucking shit. Suddenly, the music had stopped. The dancing shadows froze in place, and, I could swear, pierced me with their eyes. One of the silhouettes immediately parted from the bizarre shadow carnival and sprinted across the field with giant leaps. Ёпона мать, this is fucking scary, like fucking shit, I've got goosebumps. Like, all over my body, fucking, like... Those are big goosebumps, it's scary. It glided on squeaky snow without leaving any prints, until it was devoured by the pitch-black shadow of my house, which became even darker and thicker. My heart was jumping around like the bird inside a cage. I shut the curtains with a swift motion and stepped back toward the bed. They saw me. A freezing torrent of fear washed over me. It stood in the middle of a perfectly dark room and listened to some unwanted guests move and scrape around, looking for an entrance. The sounds moved to the right, and then circled around the house. And now my guest should be at the front door. I jumped into the bed and covered myself with the blanket, as if it could protect me. The shackles of fear locked my muscles. I remembered the funeral, my grandma lying there, hands crossed on her chest, her facial features sharp like that of a tin doll, ants running up and down the legs of chairs that held my grandma's casket. I imagined those little creatures climbing up her head and pulling up her eyelids with their tiny legs. Then her wrinkly eyeballs would once again move inside their sockets, and she'd be able to see her grandchildren. I was chanting the spell she taught me throughout the whole procedure. And now, lying under the blanket and listening to squeaks and howls, I was repeating the same words. On the island of Buyana, underneath the blemished sun, in the sea of color blue, stands a cabin made of wood. There lay lard and ashen hair, for the spawn from devil's lair, to feast and always leave alone God's faithful servant named Anton. Evil leave this house must. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Bizarre sounds had disappeared. I cautiously peeked out from under the blanket and saw curtains waving around like a hanged man. And then, the night doused me with a new portion of boiling terror. The sound scratched at my eardrums. In reality, something or someone were scratching at the front door, hurriedly clawing at wood, demanding to be let in. The door was shut. Dad had become very cautious recently, so he installed a sturdy lock. I remember him staring at the forest intently as if he was looking for someone. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. I hugged my knees, placing my chin between them, and drilled the door with my eyes. It was so flimsy and weak before the might of darkness. And then... the doorknob twitched, slightly. Then it turned halfway, once, twice, as if the person who tried to enter had no hands. The doorknob tilted once more, and then started clicking violently. My jaw cramped from fear. My wet fingers clutched the blanket. The door creaked and opened. The wind taunted me, moaning inside the tin drains. Now, you'll see. The door was wide open. The darkness writhed inside the carnivorous mouth of the doorway. Tosha. It was as if the night itself was calling out to me, flapping its black wings and squeaking with rusted hinges. Sorry. I was trembling, ensnared by the web of darkness that hung in the corners of my room, waiting for the one who weaved it to come out of the gaping black hole. Tony. My abdomen tightened and my chest rose up, ready to exhale a desperate scream. But before I was able to do anything, the darkness asked me,
Ты спишь, Тоша?
Tosha, you asleep? My sister's pale face protruded from the thick shadows. I almost screamed from relief.
Оля?
Olya? I'm not sleeping. Did something happen? Olya frowned and stuck out her lower lip, a clear sign that she was about to cry.
Оно опять.
It's there again, staring at me!
Прогони,
Shoo her away, Tasha!
прогони, пожалуйста.
Please!
Я так боюсь.
I'm so scared! I gotta pick a better voice for her. The fear that was tormenting me just a minute ago crawled away and hit somewhere in my stomach. I needed to calm Olya down.
Это был сон, глупая. Не пугайся.
It was just a dream, silly. Don't be scared. Dreams don't bite. No one's gonna harm you. Olya sobbed. She was trying her best to believe me. But was I sure myself?
У меня есть идея.
I have an idea.
Пойдем к тебе в комнату.
Let's go to your room and watch the video.
Ищу красавицу.
Sleeping Beauty, for example.
Тебе же нравится этот мультик?
You like that cartoon, don't you?
Почему у спящей красавицы принца у меня эта страшная птица?
Why does the Sleeping Beauty have a prince and I have this scary bird? I gotta pick a better voice. And that question took me by surprise.
Ладно, давай посмотрим.
Alright, let's watch Cinderella. My thoughts became tangled, fuzzy. What was that? What startled me with its eyes while dancing feverishly under the moon? The darkness was clinging to the window, and it couldn't be fooled by Grandma's old chants. It couldn't be satisfied with a feast of lard and long ashen hair.
Тоша, ты идешь?
I fucking remember something. Tasha, you coming?
Да, да.
Yeah, just a moment. Fucking piece of shit, fuck you. Fuck this. Wake up, moron. You shit yourself. Like, really. I forgot how terrifying and thrilling the first episodes are, especially the first one. Like, well, yeah, the first three. I've played the fourth on my main channel, but it's mostly action-packed, I'd say. It's more focused on gore, I would say. And these ones, they are like really good thrillers, like creepy. That's why I didn't want to laugh at Olya and her owl in the morning. So yeah, that's what he remembered. Who could be visiting us here, in the middle of nowhere? We don't know anyone around here. so persistent. I felt extremely unsettled just from a silly thought that our morning guests could have come from the woods. I could barely hear voices coming from the front door. My mind was urging me to hide. In the closet, under the table, behind the curtains where Olya always hides. Tosha, come here! These voices, man, I gotta walk on them. I felt like kettlebells were tied to my feet, but still dragged them towards the hallway. A couple of policemen towered over me in the doorway. They smelled like frost and worry. My mom always winced and grumbled the moment she saw patrol cars. Worse than bandits. I think it somehow connected to the father story. At the moment, though, she looked somewhat confused.
Здравствуйте.
Hello. The senior officer, who wore a grim expression, nodded.
Тут мальчик вчера потерялся. Вовой зовут.
A boy had gone missing yesterday. His name's Vova.
Глянь, пожалуйста.
Look at this,
Ты его не
please.
видел?
Have you seen him? The policeman held out a photograph to me. There was a ginger boy around the age of elementary school, pictured with a wall carpet as the backdrop. He had a striped cat in his hands and wore a wide smile.
Нет.
No, I haven't.
Точно?
Are you sure? Look closely.
Где мне его видеть?
Where would I
Я
see
никого не
him?
знаю. Да
I
и
don't know anyone around here. I barely leave the house.
А может, видел
Well,
окно?
maybe you've seen him from the window.
Да, у тебя ведь окна.
That's
налево.
right. Your windows look straight at the forest, don't they? The window.
Нет, не видел.
No, I haven't seen anything.
Ясно.
I see. He sounded tired, but his eyes, his stare, long and heavy, was full of suspicion. Come on, like, why would he suspect me? That's just the look he has, due to his profession, I guess. That's the look he gives everyone he asks questions. I squirmed unwittingly under the weight of guilt, which his giant shadow cast over me. The policeman finally tore his eyes from me and glanced over the hallway, the stairway and the cracks in the ceiling, which I haven't noticed before for some reason.
Вы, кстати, как на новом?
How do you like your new place, by the way?
Привыкли уже?
Getting used to it.
Понемногу, только вот
Bit by
дочка
bit.
маленькая по городу.
It's just how little daughter misses the city a lot.
Скучает, значит.
Misses the
Из
city,
местных
huh?
вас никто не
Have the
беспокоит?
locals been treating you well?
Все хорошо, спасибо.
Yes, everything's alright, thank you. The policeman pierced through me one more time with his brown eyes. My head started spinning.
Может, вам помочь как?
Can I help you somehow? I asked that in a shaky voice to look like a polite boy and to end this unpleasant conversation sooner.
Я вот стою и думаю,
Now that I think about it,
ты малец на
you look just like one of my nephews, little fella.
Шустрый парень.
He's a witty boy around your age, wears the same type of goggles. Always engrossed in reading those mystery novels.
Когда летом погасит,
Told me he wants to enroll in police school when his family visited this summer.
Как я.
He wanted to help other people just like me, see? I felt uncomfortable, as if a distant relative and not a police officer stood before me.
Ох, ребятушки.
You know what?
Сидите
Little boys like you should stay at home, steer away from trouble. The times have changed so much. Mom interjected in a cold voice.
Мне ли не знать?
You don't say.
Ну да ладно.
Ah, well done.
Ты, Антон, в каком классе?
What grade are you in, Anton?
Шестом.
Sixth.
Друзей-то на новом
Have you made any
месте не
friends here
завел?
so far?
Пока нет.
Not yet. I'll be going to school for the first time after the break.
Тогда вот вам на всякий
Ah,
случай.
then I'll leave you my number just in case.
Звоните, если-
Call me if you have any new info. The policemen were gone along with their shadows, the smell of cheap cologne and the photo of a smiling boy. His face still stood before my eyes. I wondered what it was like for him, being all alone, there. For some reason I thought of the forest, swaying in the wind. What did his poor parents feel? And what would my parents do if I'd gone missing? Would they cry and thrash around hysterically? Or would they accuse each other like they always do and forget about me eventually?
Мам,
Mom,
Вова этот
this
в нашем
Vova,
заблудился.
did he go missing in our forest?
Выходит, что так.
Seems like
Бедный
it.
ребенок.
Poor child. I looked out the window at the road. The police was drove off towards the village. UAZ was a Soviet and Russian off-road freight passenger car brand which was produced on the Ulyanovsk car factory. Got it. The officer's nephew came to mind when I was splitting off old paint from the windowsill. I remembered all the teenage mystery novels from the Black Kitty series I've read this summer. What's Black Kitty? A series of contemporary Russian original or translated teen mystery books. The music's beautiful. Man, it's so beautiful. This episode gives so much vibe. It's just so beautiful. Your average boys and girls investigated all sorts of mysteries there. They looked for clues, spied on suspicious people. And after a set of amazing adventures, bam! Solved any complicated case. They became local celebrities and must have made their parents very proud. I noticed a trail of policemen's footprints that led to the forest. And then it clicked in my head. Why don't I start an investigation of my own? That's a great idea, kid. Maybe I'll find that lost boy. And I'll get a reward. Olya will be so happy. And not only Olya, Mom and Dad too. Maybe they'll even forget about their quarrels for a while. Maybe I'll even save us from the D word. I fantasized about buying Olya a Tamagotchi and getting a cassette player and a bunch of tapes for myself. And a whole box of Kinder Surprise. When was the last time our parents bought us any toys? Last autumn, I think. My dad had lost his job at the time. There's that annoying song about it. What's the song? Accountant. A song by an all-female Soviet pop band by the name of Kombinatsiya, combination here, right? That became widely popular in the early 90s. I had little to no idea what was the accountant's job like. They count money, I think. Neighbors used to envy us. But nowadays, Mom and Dad barely had money to afford sweets, and Dad would always divide a single chocolate bar between me and Olya. Sometimes I gave her my share too. No matter how much I wanted to eat sweets, she was still just a peepsqueak. I couldn't wait to go out, looking for clues.
Пойду погуляю.
I'm going outside.
Ага, ща.
Yeah, right.
Чтобы потом милиционеры с твоей
You want the
фотографией
police to go
домой.
around with your photograph next?
Лес вон какой густой.
The forest is so thick.
А если мальчика...
What if the boy got
перебьют?
snatched up
Или
by
там-
wild animals, or something even worse? Even worse, echoed through the hallway.
Да я рядом буду. В лес.
I won't go far. I'll stay away from the forest.
Что я тебе сказала?
Did you hear
Не
what I
надо
said?
повторять.
Or should I repeat myself?
Лучше портфель собери.
Better go
Условия
pack your school
поиграть.
bag or play with Olya. The sound of splashing water came from the kitchen. it meant that the argument was over, and Mom had the last word. Open. The dark, stuffy closet. Mom says it smells like mice, but how would she know their smell? She hates when I stick my nose in there. She's afraid I'll cut myself on the freshly sharpened axe. And Olya can't even be lured close to it. She thinks Baba is living there. I try to help her fight her fear once. I opened the door and turned on a dim lamp, till she would see there was nothing but cobwebs, dead stools and scratched walls. She still didn't believe me. And I liked to hide in the closet and listen to all the accounts inside. 1, 2, 3. Better hide from me. And then drag her feet on the creaking floorboards, hoping that she wouldn't need to look for me in the cramped monster's den. Mom's backtop, a family relic. My mom played with it when she was little. Then she gifted it to me. Olya was next in the succession line. The toy belonged to her now. She stared at the dancing spindle as if it could show her something, a fairy tale or maybe even our future. Now even my little sister was a bit too old for the old squeaky backtop. This cross had seen so many people come and go in this house. It was black as if it absorbed all human sin from the long years it was hanging under the ceiling. After Grandma died, Mom was going to take it off and hang a horseshoe in its place as a lucky charm. But she cut herself with the crossed sharp corner and almost fell from the stepladder. That's suspicious. Dad called it a sign from above and ordered the cross to be left alone in its rightful place. That's right. To kitchen. Let's go to the kitchen. Lie to Mom. Shit. Don't lie to Mom, that's bad. We're gonna try to do something without lying. The decrepit and stain-covered calendar was once my favorite form of entertainment in Grandma's house. I actually remember this. Yeah, my grandpa had a similar calendar, and I think in my childhood we had a similar calendar as well. It was just, you know, funny turning these pages. There was something about it. Write in the comments if you had a similar calendar hanging on your wall. I remember waking up and running to the kitchen so I could tear off yesterday's leaf first. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I remember waking up and running to the kitchen so I could tear off yesterday's leaf first thing in the morning, as if the coming day would get lost in the taiga forest without any help. I don't remember tearing leaves off, if that's what they should be called. Leaf? Or maybe sheet? Or maybe like leaflet? Yeah, leaf is alright, I think. I don't remember tearing them off for some reason. Maybe either I'm forgetting something, or maybe it was considered a waste to tear it off. Waste of paper, you know. Maybe I'm mistaken. One day closer to New Year's. One day closer to Grandma's funeral. I haven't touched this calendar for years now. Since the time they started writing dark and spooky death chants that only made me gloomy instead of funny proverbs and superstitions, to be exact. 8, yeah. I grabbed the dusty calendar leaf with caution, and it tore off effortlessly. Sadly, the spooky descriptions from my childhood were still there. 7 horses carry the log. If 7 can't carry, bring the 8 from a ferry. They'll take it away and never come back. This is the fate the lock cannot escape. I crumpled the grey leaf and threw it into the waste bin, hoping to get rid of the anxiousness that washed over me. It was spreading inside me like an ink stain on blotting paper. Bottling paper. Amercom of Russia had declared the state of emergency due to adverse weather conditions. According to the weather forecast, a cyclone is moving toward the region. Expect heavy snowfall, blizzards, and snowdrifts on the road. Keep your eyes open and take care of yourself. Alright, that'll do. I took a peek at Mom's crossword. She would get very angry when someone gave her advice, so me and Dad faked knowing the answer and being about to reveal it all the time. I smiled at that fleeting thought. Vertical, 9 letters, the name of the Philistine deity that protected them from viper bites and had a nickname, the Lord of Flies. Second letter is E. What that might be, please write in the comments below. Open. Let's eat something. Oh, I think that's viola. The melted cheese. What do you call them? Not cucumbers. Pickles? Pickles? Is that what you call them? Ocean is written here. And yeah, this is, I don't know how it's called. It's like boiled milk or boiled mixed milk. It's pronounced like сгущенное молоко. Eggs, paracetamol, it's painkillers. Пельмени, yeah. Grandma kept ice cream for me and Olya there, but now I can only see meat bits for soup and clumped together pelmeni. Pelmeni. Zixi. Hello, yeah, look who's back. It's like... I'm mostly doing that for... for English practice, you know. But yeah, I'm glad to see you. Hello, mate. How you doing? I grew to hate them already. I've been, like, reading for an hour, and my voice is just already, you know, tired as a result of not getting used to it. Although when I was streaming it in Russian, well, in Russian I can read for longer periods of time rather than in English. So yeah, I grew to hate them already. So pelmeni is like this, it's like meatballs covered with, what do you call it? Like dough? Not dough, like, maybe it's called dough, and then it's cooked in the oven, or no, not in the oven. I don't remember. Either in the no, not in the oven. You boil water and you throw them in there. Yeah, something like that. Let's just read about it. Like, they are giving us glossary for this kind of thing. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Pelmeni, a Russian variety of dumplings. Yeah, dumplings, exactly. Made by boiling thin, unleavened dough filled with mincemeat. One may even call it Russian fast food. Well, sort of. Especially with, you know, ketchup or mayonnaise. Or no, with smetana. I finally played Mankind Divided in the meantime. A bit disappointed, buggy as hell on PC. HR was way better. I remember, like, coming across some huge bugs in Mankind Divided. It just, you know, in terms of vibes, it just was not that for me at the time. Can't remember any bugs though. Just the feeling wasn't right for me, I think. The feeling, not the feeling. Or yeah, the feeling too, maybe. Turn back. Is that all? Yeah, that's all. I'm not gonna lie to Mom. I don't think that's a good idea. Let's go to the front yard.
Антон,
Anton!
сейчас ремня получишь.
I'll whip you if you make a single step out the door. Oh, come on. I don't want to lie to Mom. But Prague was beautiful. It was. Yeah, it was. Good night, man. Good night. Sweet dreams. Alright, let's lie to Mom. It was difficult to lie to Mom, but there was no other way for me to run away from home.
Мам, там что-то с
Mom,
телевизором случилось.
something's wrong with the TV.
Картинка
The
какая-то.
picture is dim and there are stripes all over the screen. Mom's face became visibly distorted.
Без ножа меня режешь.
You're killing me here. So you've had enough of shooting those stupid ducks now?
Говорила же,
Told you the kind scope will go dim because of your console.
Где мы теперь мастера найдем?
Where will we find a TV technician in this hole, huh?
Может быть, просто настройки
Maybe it's just the
изменились.
settings.
Сходи, посмотри,
Please
пожалуйста.
go see for yourself.
Нормально
Strange.
работал с утра.
It worked fine in the morning.
Из-за снегопада, наверное,
Maybe the
упала.
snowfall caused it. Mom rubbed her hands clean on her apron and went to Olya's room. We lied to Mom. That's not a good thing. I opened the front gate and went into the field. Carefully, so Mom wouldn't see me from the window. When I crossed half of the distance toward the forest, the snow piles became as high as my knees. I remembered my nightly fears. I saw those silhouettes around here. They were jumping around, holding hands. That hypnotizing music started playing in my head all on its own. In the light of day, those distant figures felt like a simple dream. The sun turned my nightmares to ash, but the aftertaste was still there. Distant ringing in my ears, distorted shadows crawling on the snow alongside me, and a barely audible whisper in my head, blurry and almost kind. Everything was silent. So silent I felt like the world was totally empty. No ground, no sky, no parents, no Olya. The time reached its limit, a one-way trip that ended at the forest's spiny stockade. Sometimes silence was much scarier than any scream. Our parents would scream at each other while arguing, and both me and Olya turned to stone, listening to them. But then always came the ringing silence. Our apartment became numb a couple of days before we departed. It was hard to remember the last time Mom and Dad joked around, laughing, or spent time together, almost like all of it was in the previous life. When they kissed with Olya present, she always frowned and snorted in a funny way. But one day, it all changed. Something important had left our home, and something scary filled the remaining void. It was as fire broke out, and our parents were hurriedly packing our belongings, trying to save themselves and us. From who, though? From the people with dead cold eyes, who sometimes visited us. Oh, wow. Wait a sec. From the people with dead cold eyes who sometimes visited us in our previous home? So that's making some things clear. So apparently the dad is somehow connected with criminal activities. That's why Mom dislikes police. And she also, and that's And I think that's why they are arguing. The eyes that only saw balls of worms on the black ground and everything. And somewhere far away, a siren was going off, trying to warn us of the coming menace. I shuddered, chasing away my delusions, and looked around. There were only me, this white field, and the wind that was whipping up icy dust and belts of powdered snow. I squinted from the sun and turned my eyes to the sunless forest. It looked especially dark in contrast with the blinding whiteness. Knobby tree roots slithered under the snow like fat snakes. Rotten leaves and coniferous needles froze into eyes. Dry, prickly branches intertwined, bringing up uncomfortable thoughts about fences. Were they protecting the forest? Or were they keeping something from breaking out? Some object was hanging from one of the pointy branches. I tried to get closer, drowning in snow, and when I almost got to the edge of the forest, I saw in it a mitten. It looked like a wounded bird among the hungering semi-dog. Should I take it to the police? The senior officer looked gloomy, but he still reminded me of a Captain Casanova from my favorite TV show called The Streets of Broken Lights. Streets of Broken Lights, a Russian mystery TV series telling a story of the daily life of Russian police officers. It's the longest running series in the history of Russian TV at the moment. I don't remember if it's still running. He was also always anxious, with a tired look in his eyes, but still brave and strong. Will the smitten help him find the lost boy? Vova! I heard a distant shout. Looked like it came from the river. Vova! They are searching. They are apparently searching for Vova. That's dark. As if the trees were calling out to someone. Vova resounded closer to me. Someone was standing there, behind the trees, hiding. Alright guys, I think that's it for now. I'm gonna make a save file here, so as not to, I hope I don't forget about it, page 2. So anyways, thank you for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, please leave a comment and like this video and subscribe to the channel, because I've created an English-speaking channel. I think I've done that for my English streams, which I might, do from time to time. So, yeah. Till next time, bye guys.